I never thought my life would spiral the way it did that day. To be honest, I still can't wrap my head around it. You think you know people, right? But then something happens, and it completely changes your perspective. So, here's the thing. I caught my best friend cheating on his girlfriend. And not just any cheating, mind you. It was with someone I knew, someone I trusted. At first, I thought I was imagining things. Maybe it was just a coincidence, right? They were talking, but no. The way they looked at each other, the way they touched each other, I didn't want to believe it. But deep down, I knew. I knew exactly what was going on. And you know what? I should have said something immediately. I should have called him out, told his girlfriend, and moved on with my life. But I didn't. I didn't because of one reason: revenge. I won't sugarcoat it. My relationship with my best friend was complicated. We had been close since college, but after a series of events that I'm not proud of, I started feeling like he was the one who'd betrayed me. And here he was, doing the exact same thing to his girlfriend, the one person who truly loved him. And I was stuck watching it unfold. But that wasn't all. There was someone else involved, someone I'd known for years. Jenny, his girlfriend's best friend. Jenna had always been supportive of me. Even when things with my best friend were at their worst, she was there when I felt lost, when I needed someone to talk to. I had no idea she was the one he was cheating with. No idea she was capable of something like that. And there I was, stuck in the middle. I felt like a pawn in someone else's messed up game. I could have told his girlfriend, ruined his life, and let the world know what he was doing. But I didn't want to just expose him. No, I wanted something more. What really pissed me off was that Jenna, the one person I thought had my back, was the one who betrayed me. It wasn't even like they were just casually hooking up. They were together. I saw them kiss, and the way they were all over each other like they didn't even care who saw. And I wanted to scream, but I kept quiet. Looking back, I can't even explain why I kept it to myself for so long. Maybe it was because I was getting a sick satisfaction out of watching his life fall apart. Maybe it was because I felt like I deserved some sort of redemption. You know, like I needed to make him feel the same way I had felt for years, betrayed, used, abandoned. But then something happened, something I didn't expect. I found out his girlfriend, the one person who was being hurt by all of this, wasn't as innocent as I thought. You know how they say, when you dig into someone's life, you uncover things you never expected. Well, that's exactly what happened. I thought she was just a sweet, trusting girlfriend who didn't have a clue. But the more I looked, the more I realized that maybe she knew more than she was letting on. The first sign was her phone. It went off in the middle of dinner one night while I was over at their place. And it wasn't a normal text. It was a message from Jenna. I couldn't make out the full message, but it was enough for me to see her name in bold letters. And the tone, well, it was a little to familiar. So, of course, I did what anyone would do in my situation. I tried to figure out what was going on. I went back and forth on whether I should confront her about it or just let the whole thing unfold on its own. I could have let things play out, but I wanted answers. That's when things really started to get complicated. I went digging deeper, and the deeper I dug, the more I realized I wasn't the only one playing a dangerous game. I found out that she had been cheating too, and with someone way closer to home than I ever imagined. It wasn't just about my best friend and Jenna anymore. No, now it was bigger than that. It was about a tangled web of lies, deceit, and betrayals that I wasn't prepared for. And the worst part, I had no idea what to do next. Do I expose everything? Do I blow up their lives? Do I sit back and watch them implode? Or do I take matters into my own hands? I'll be honest, the more I thought about it, the more I started to question whether I was even in the right anymore. Sure, they deserved to be exposed for what they were doing. But what about me? What about the things I'd done? What if, in the end, I was the one who was worse than all of them? I didn't know what to do next. The guilt was gnawing at me, but the anger, that was even worse. I was caught in a storm of emotions, unsure whether I should just walk away or take control of the situation. In my head, I kept running through the different scenarios. If I told his girlfriend, she'd probably break up with him, right? That would ruin everything. But then, there was Jenna. Could I expose her too? What would that even do? Make me feel better? Would it even fix anything? I started getting these texts from my best friend, let's call him Mike, asking if everything was okay. He noticed I was acting distant, but I played it cool. I wasn't about to give anything away. But his texts kept coming. The guilt was eating me up. But I wasn't ready to confess anything. Not yet. But then came the final nail in the coffin. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to know if I was the only one who knew about Mike and Jenna. I had to find out if his girlfriend, let's call her Sarah, was in on the whole thing. So, I did something I'm not proud of. I went through Sarah's phone. I know, that's a huge violation of trust. But in my defense, I was so deep in this web of lies by that point, I couldn't see any other way. I needed answers, and I needed them now. I won't lie to you, it was like uncovering a whole other layer of the betrayal I wasn't prepared for. Sarah did know, but she didn't just know about Mike and Jenny, she knew about everything. The messages were there, plain as day. Sarah had been getting texts from Mike and Jenna for months, and they weren't just casual conversations. No, they were full-on planning sessions. They'd been setting up secret meetings, lying to each other, pretending everything was fine when it was anything but. It was like the world I thought I knew was all built on lies. The entire foundation of their relationships had crumbled, and I was just standing there in the wreckage, trying to figure out what the hell to do next. At that point, I had a choice. I could call Sarah, tell her everything I knew, and maybe finally get revenge on Mike and Jenna. Maybe I'd feel better after destroying them. Or I could just stay silent, let everything implode on its own, and walk away with the knowledge that I had won. But then, as I sat there, staring at those messages, I started to feel confused. The more I thought about it, the more I realized I wasn't just dealing with a few cheating friends. I was in the middle of something much more complicated. I couldn't help but wonder, what if Sarah was just as trapped in this mess as I was? What if she was just as betrayed by Mike as I had been by him all those years ago? What if they had both been playing the same game, just in different ways? That's when it hit me. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. It wasn't just about exposing their lies or tearing them down. It was about understanding why we all got here in the first place. I wasn't just angry at Mike or Jenna or Sarah anymore. I was angry at myself. Looking back now, I see it clearly. I had spent so much time trying to get back at them for what I felt was a betrayal, but I never stopped to think about how I was playing my own part in this game. Was I really any different from them? Sure, I wasn't cheating on anyone, but I was keeping secrets. I was withholding the truth. I was lying too, in my own way. I spent the next few days completely lost in my thoughts, replaying everything in my head, every decision I'd made, every lie I told. And when Mike texted me again asking if I was okay, I finally cracked. Why didn't you tell me? I asked him, just throwing the question out there, not really expecting an answer. Why didn't you tell me about you and Jenna? He didn't respond for a while, and when he finally did, his message was simple. I was gonna tell you, man, but it just never seemed like the right time. I didn't respond. Part of me wanted to tell him that it didn't matter now, that everything had already gone too far. But then I stopped myself. I was done with games. I was done with secrets. I thought about calling Sarah. I thought about confronting her, letting her know that I knew everything. But then I stopped again. What good would it do? Would it make me feel better? Would it make me feel justified? Or would it just make the whole situation worse? So, I decided to take a step back. I stopped texting Mike. I stopped reaching out to Sarah. I just stopped. And honestly, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. I thought I would feel relieved, but instead, I just felt empty. All the anger, all the guilt, it was still there, just simmering under the surface, waiting for a chance to boil over. And here's the kicker. I still don't know what the right thing to do was. Should I have confronted them all? Should I have exposed their lies? Or was walking away the better choice? Some people might say I went too far by digging into their lives in the first place. Others might say I didn't go far enough by not telling the whole truth. Now, I'm left with this nagging question. Was I trying to protect myself? Or was I just afraid of the consequences of facing the truth? I guess, in the end, we're all just trying to figure out who the real bad guy is. So, tell me, am I wrong for not exposing everything? Or should I have let the truth come out, no matter the cost? Some people say I did the right thing by stepping away. Others think I should have fought harder for justice. Now, I'm questioning everything.